Hello and welcome. It is time for a sewing project, and kind of a rush one at that. Now, tomorrow night, my husband and I are planning on going to an Edgar Allan Poe themed event. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I am going to try and take some footage while I'm there, but it is nighttime, so we'll see about how quality comes out for anything I take. Anyways, I have plenty of cute, dark aesthetic sort of clothing, but I happen to remember that I have a chrome theme fabric. I think there's just a yard of this, but I thought, what better time to do something with this than for this event. So yes, very short amount of time to do something. I want to make a shirt to go with it. I don't know that we'll get that far, but for sure I want to make something with this. And because there is a small amount, I think what I want to do is make a pinafore. That way I don't have to worry about like sleeves, a full bodice. I can do like just part of the skirt with this, either a shorter version or like panels with other fabrics mixed in. I'll decide that as I'm going, but yes, definitely want to make a pinafore with this. To do that, like I said, it's only a partial bodice, and I know a lot of people just make a square, but I kind of want some shape for my chest. So what I think I'm going to do is take the front part of this pattern, because there is some nice shape going on with some darting, and that way I don't have to make guesswork out of it. And I know that it is going to be shaped nicely, and I will just trim the outer silhouette to what I want it to be. So I'm gonna grab that piece from here, and then for the skirt part of it, I actually have a circle skirt pattern. Well, it's not quite a full circle skirt. It's like a semi-circle skirt. And I have it in two lengths. This is the bottom panel I can add on to make it longer. But I have this little piece. And I just need 3 of them. And like I said, if I just do like the top part of the skirt, I don't even need the full amount for the short skirt. It'll just be kind of like a ruffle, maybe even like almost a peplum style, and then a longer length of like black or brown fabric underneath. So that is the game plan. Stretch goal, if I have time, big if, but if I can wrangle it, I would like to take the bodice of this shirt pattern, if I can get it to focus. Rounded neck, and then add these tiered sleeves to it. Like I said, stretch goal, we'll see if we get that far, but it is time to get cracking. So I am going to get this pattern cut out, and we're going to get the chest and at least the top part of the skirt going. Alright, so I'm fighting a huge quandary because this pattern hasn't been cut apart yet. And usually I make a general rule of it to cut all the pieces out of my pattern when I cut one out. That being said, I am working on a time crunch, and it just takes a long time sometimes to get every single piece of the pattern out. So let's see, I've got 2 sheets here. Alright, 2 sheets, let's see. It looks like it's mostly pretty big pieces, and it doesn't look too complicated. I am probably just gonna go ahead and cut it all out real fast because I compulsively need to. I'm sorry, I just do. So I'm gonna bring you back once I get this all cut apart and have the pieces that I need. Alright, so now I have the bodice front piece, which is going to have one cut on the fabric on the fold, and then we'll also need a lining, so I will grab that when I grab my extra layering pieces, so to speak. So we got that piece, and then this is like a band that goes along the top, so I think I'll go ahead and put that on for some nice finishing. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. I haven't actually read the pattern yet, so we'll get there. And then this is actually some sort of tie, but I think what I'm going to do is use it as a waistband guide. So that way I have a good transition piece from bodice to skirt. I also think I want to do some elastic in the back of the waistband just so that it can be fitted. I don't have to worry about zippers, and it'll stretch or expand depending on what I need. Yeah, I just think that's going to be the easiest bit, and I also know I have a ton of elastic, so that's what I'm going to do with this piece. Let's get this laid out and start cutting. So this fabric has a certain direction, so I do want to make sure I cut it accordingly. So I actually need to flip this way, and then this is going to go on the fold as close to the edge, actually right on the edge. Save as much fabric as I can. And actually it was my mom that found this fabric. She was shopping for fabric online. I don't remember what site, but she thought of me and bought me a little piece of it. So she knows my taste very well. So I'm excited to show her what ends up coming of it, because she also likes to sew. I actually learned most of what I know, I learned from her. So I have expanded my repertoire from online, but that's where I got the base of my knowledge, was watching her. So I only have a tiny bit of fabric to work with to make a nice full looking skirt. So as I said, I'm going to do like a shortened bit. So I actually modified a piece of the pattern, so I just end up with like a little sort of ruffle of this fabric leading into the rest of the skirt. So I should be able to get 3 of these, which will make it nice and full. And then what I'll probably do is cut out like 4 of these for the next tier of color, and then maybe 5. Maybe we'll do like 3.5, like elongated or something, and then 4 to 5. We'll see. Like I said, I kind of got to dig through my fabric stash still and see what I have left, but I wanted to at least get this much done. Okay, so I realized I only actually needed 2 of these pieces, which is kind of a bummer because then I could have made it longer. Math at 11 at night is not always the easiest thing to do. At least that's my excuse I'm making. But it's still gonna work. I know it's still gonna be cute, and there is something that I could possibly do with that last third piece if I get to the shirt. So moving forward, let's go ahead and look at my fabric and see what I need for the additional pieces of skirt, lining, trim, all of that. Okay, so most of my fabric that I have is in these couple of drawers. I'm looking for a black fabric and a brown fabric. Ugh, okay. So in this drawer, I have this, but it's kind of costumey, like cape sort of fabric. I'll keep it in mind because I'm not sure what all I have for black fabric anymore. I've gone through a lot of it. Let's see. I think this is a curtain. I kind of like the texture of this, so this may be a contender, not for the bodice lining, but possibly for the skirt itself. Possibly also for the shirt I want to make. It feels like there's quite a bit of this. Yeah, okay, let me put this aside as potential. I want brown. This is not a perfect match. I don't think I actually have a brown that's as warm as the tones in that, but I'm just going to go ahead and put it together and trust that it will look okay in the end. This is a bit heavier, like a lightweight khaki, so I don't think that's going to be the best bet for the skirt. Ugh. Let's see. Here. This is the one I was thinking of. It's close color to that first one, but it is much lighter weight, so I think it's going to be a little bit more drapey and flowy. And actually, this might also work for the lining of the bodice. So I think I'm gonna pull this, and yeah, I think that the curtain, possible curtain, maybe tablecloth, I'm not really sure, to be honest. I found it thrifting, but I think, yeah, because that's pleather. That's got a design. Yeah, I think that's going to be the one we're going with for now. Ugh. 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 Okay, back to the cutting board, literally. I think I'm going to do the black fabric as the waistband and as the first tier after the crow fabric. That way the crow fabric is directly touching black, because like I said, this is not quite as warm a tone as the browns in here. So if I put black separating them, it's not going to be as easily discernible that it is not a perfect color match. Far from, but like I said, I am working with what I got on a limited amount of time, so we are just going to have to make this look as good as we can by adding enough embellishes that it ties itself in. So I am going to go ahead and cut the waistband and the skirt pieces and the lining for the top, and then we're going to start assembling. Alright, we've got our bodice pieces, we've got our skirt pieces, and I actually modified one of the curved pieces for the skirt pattern into a waistband, just so that it's got a little bit more shape to it. So I am going to start the process of pinning all these pieces together, and we'll get sewing. Okay, so the front band looks like it's mostly for stabilizing after reading the pattern, so I'm just going to cut it out of some heavy-duty interfacing and not worry about the 9 million extra steps it's doing. So I'll just incorporate it in as I'm sewing the lining to the bodice, I think. We'll see if that ends up biting me in the butt. I think I know enough to be able to make it work, so fingers crossed, we'll see. Alright, so I've got the lining and the actual fabric sewn together. The shape is not too bad. I think I'll be able to tell just a little bit better once it is pressed and top stitch. So the next phase now is to get the waistband working. So I cut two different lengths of pieces. So this, I believe, let's see. Okay, so this is the front. I've got lining because I don't trust this to not be itchy against my skin, but I have lining and the actual fabric. And for the front, I'm going to cut it down. Actually, it's pretty close. Probably once I have the seaming in, it'll be just right. But the front is going to be flat. And so when I stitch these together, I'm going to stitch the bib in between so that it is neatly tucked inside. So we'll have the flat front. And then in the back, I did much longer piece of fabric because what I plan to do is actually make a channel and have elastic run through, so that way I can just pull it up and then put the bib on over my head with however I'm going to do the straps. Still deciding that, but yeah, that way I don't have to worry about a zipper or buttons or anything like that. It's just going to stretch up over my hips and then snap in place around my waist and be ready to go. So I don't think I'm going to film sewing together this part because it's I think you can only show so much stitching because it's just going in lines over and over again. But I'm going to get this assembled, and then that's going to have probably the most complicated part of the pinafore. I keep forgetting the word and it's been driving me mad. I keep going tunic, no that's not right. Romper, no that's not right. Pinafore. I'm going to put that together, and that'll complete, I think, the most difficult part of it, because sewing the skirt together is no big deal. It's just a whole bunch of stitching, gathering, stitching, gathering. Actually, we've only been working on this for about 3.5 hours, so I don't think that's too bad. And then I have almost all day tomorrow. We have very few errands to run, so I can work on this pretty much up until go time. So yeah, I don't feel like this is going too bad. Oh, actually, before I stitch the bib into the waistband, I think I'm going to add some pieces of black trim along the sides that are just going to go up into the straps. Yeah, that's how I think I'm going to do it, because I have to make that decision now before it's stitched into the waistband. So I'm going to do that, and then I will show you once it's assembled with the waistband how it came out. Okay, so we've had a few hang-ups on the way, including running out of thread, ending up going out to eat with a friend, and a bit of migraine, but we persevere, and I have the bulk of the work done, the hard part at least. We have straps, we have waistband complete with stretchy back, and we have the first tier of the skirt attached to that. So for this, I do think from when I tried it on, I'm gonna add just like a couple of darts just to complete the shaping. But this is all now skirt work. So I just need to put this and this on there, and then the dress is done. Debatable if I'm going to have time to do a whole shirt, but I'm going to try to do a modification of a shirt that I picked up. But first things first, I have backup shirts if I don't get to that, but I have no dress if I don't finish the dress. So I'm going to get those last two tiers of skirting on, and then we will move forward from there. Alright, so currently the straps are just pinned in place, and I think I like it on the side of the bodice just to give it a little bit more structure. And I'm skipping the brown tier actually. I think that the length, let me get far enough back, there we go. I think the length is actually really good with just the black. So I'm going to save myself some time, skip the brown tier. I'm sure I can use this for some other sort of skirt along the way. And I am going to just wrap up these little finishing details. And then I think we have time to do a shirt, not a fully from scratch one, but an alteration to go with our new pinafore. So let me wrap this up, and then I will show you what we're going to do with the shirt. All right, so I have about 2 hours, give or take. Maybe an hour and a half, since I do want to like do fancy makeup and stuff. But I'm going to just take this men's clearance polo that I found, and I'm going to use the body because it's got like the collared neck, which I like. I actually have a brooch that I think I'm gonna wear with this. I'm gonna take off the sleeves, and what I'm gonna just do is cut slightly inside of where the sleeve is so that the shoulder line is a little further up instead of this drop shoulder. And then I'm going to split it down the arm seam, and I'm actually going to use that as a pattern. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to exaggerate the shape along the top of the sleeve a little bit. And then instead of doing that double flare on this pattern, I think what I'm going to do is just this single flare. So I'll use this to create the shoulder shape of the pattern, and then the bottom part of this sleeve in order to get the shape that I want. I'm gonna see if maybe I can work in some of the crow fabric, if not the sleeve, because I think these sleeves require a good bit of fabric, then possibly maybe taking off the collar and doing the crow fabric on the collar. I think that could be cute. So let me start cutting this apart and let's see what kind of magic we can work. So I had to wave the white flag on the shirt. I got those sleeves going and they have a lot of potential, but the polo, like, the fabric just keeps stretching and stretching and stretching. Like I have never experienced this with a knit before, but the armholes are just getting gigantic, and I'm kind of over it at this point. I will probably just like make my own base shirt to put the sleeves on at a future time. But like I said, I have options to put on with this dress. So let's go ahead and consider a few of them, and then we will pull together the whole outfit and go to a festival. I have 3 options here. First is a short sleeve puff sleeve shirt. I think this could be really cute and probably the most comfortable out of my options, considering I think it's still going to be pretty warm tonight. Haven't actually checked the weather, but it's late at night, so it is going to end up cooler at some point during this event, and parts of it are inside, so I might be able to get away with at least one of these other options. So the one that I'm least convinced won't be too hot is this one. It's just like a knit shirt. It's got a bit of a bell sleeve on it, like flared sleeve, and then it's got this necktie. Now, the necktie I think could be really cute. I've seen it done cutely with pinafores before, but I am terrible at figuring out how to tie it in a cute way. No matter how many tutorials I watch, I always end up fiddling with it. We might try it tonight though. We're gonna see how they all look together and then make a pick after that. The last one, and honestly this is kind of the one I'm leaning towards, it is long sleeve, but it is just a sheer fabric with a little cuff on the bottom. And I don't know, I think that I like the idea of the long sleeve, but then this is going to be nice and lightweight, considering, like I said, even though it is now October, it's still so hot and I hate it, but you know, I can't change the weather as much as I'd like, so we're gonna just roll with comfort. Yeah, I am gonna check the weather before I make my final choice, but let's just kind of see how they look with the dress. I'm only going to show it from the top up because I want to obviously do a reveal with all the jewelry, bells, and whistles, but let's see which option we like best. All right, so I'm not in love with this option. I love this shirt. I just don't love it with the way the straps work on this. So I'm thinking this one is probably out, but yeah, we'll see if it's the least awful option, but I'm really hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping that one of the options is good, not just the least offensive. So let's try the next one. Okay, this is option 2, and I actually don't mind this option at all. This is kind of what I had envisioned with sleeve shape when I was first thinking of making a shirt, so it hits that checkbox. The only thing, I guess the bow is fine, but it does take away the ability to pair a necklace, which I guess is also fine. There are other ways to accessorize, but yeah, this is definitely a contender. Like I said, my only concern is the weather, which before I change into the next shirt, maybe I will check that so I can know if I think I will be at all comfortable wearing this. It's not super heavy, so I think I can suck it up if I have to. But yeah, this is definitely a contender. All right, guys, I think this one might be the winner. I think that the sleeves are going to be more comfortable. As much as I like the little like flared sleeves on the other shirt, like I said, that was kind of my initial envision. I think it's still going to be a little too heavy. It is mid 80s right now, gonna drop into the upper 70s. So while it wouldn't be impossible to wear if it's really humid, I think it's just gonna start feeling uncomfortable. But the sheer sleeves on this, I think, will do quite nicely. So the only thing left now is to do all the finishing touches, hair, makeup, accessories. So I'm gonna get all that done, and then I will see you guys in the unveiling. Hi. We just finished at the Ravenswell. I mean, it's still going for quite some time, but we're old and tired and we are hungry and the drinks are expensive, so we're gonna go home.
$10 a drink is expensive, yes.
Yeah, it's pretty expensive in there, but it was a lot of fun. We saw some different performers. I had my picture taken with the crow. I'm so happy. Like, that was probably the highlight of my night, to be honest, because I love... Actually, it was a raven, wasn't it?
It was a raven.
Yeah, it's the type that has, like, the white patch on the back.
Across the chest.
Yeah, they're so cute. So, yeah, I was quite happy with my outfit, with our experience. Definitely need to make some tweaks. 10 out of 10 will be trying not to make clothing in 24 hours anymore, but, you know... It was a good reminder that I can do a project in a quick amount of time if I need to.
Cray.
Yeah, it was kind of a rough 24 hours, to be honest, but yeah, pretty happy. I would say 6.5 to 7 out of 10 on this. Like I said, needs some more fitting, but given my time span, I'm very happy. So thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one, and I hope that you had fun with this video. Bye.